So the first one I talk about is occupational stress. So these are things like shift work, bureaucracy, the cognitive load that comes through your job role. So the positive effects of these, it can actually improve your mental adaptability and problem solving skills. Okay, it can build resilience to high pressure decision making. It can improve a number of job related tasks that you do. So some of the side effects of this can be decrease in your hormone function, okay, which can result in a number of issues. It can be immune suppression, there can be lethargy, fatigue, a decrease in cognitive function, all these sorts of things. Okay, excess bureaucracy can lead to frustration, disengagement from the workplace, decision fatigue, all these sorts of things. Okay, so we want to make sure that we're getting effective load management so that it lowers that allostatic burden by being able to manage these situations. Okay, when it comes to sleep itself, which is probably one we have more control over, is that we want to make sure that we're using really good sleep strategies or circadian strategies to make sure that we're reducing the impact. And that's things like light exposure in the bedroom, making sure that we're trying to get a reasonable routine with our bedtime. We're not sort of getting up or going to bed excessively early or late, or varying those times outside of what we really need to. I know that shift work is going to disrupt that, but we want to make sure that we've got really healthy behaviours around that. So we want to reduce alcohol, caffeine, these sort of things that are going to disrupt sleep, and start looking at more of the behaviours that are going to improve our sleep. Okay, so we can use napping, things like that, meditation, mindfulness, okay, climate controlled rooms, whatever it is that you find effective for sleep is what you want to try and do, because you want to make sure that you're getting the most or the best sleep that you can within the time available. Okay, and then within the work environment, we can use things as task prioritization, workload rotations, these sort of things. We can make sure that we're reducing the impact of bureaucracy. Okay, some of the things that we can't control, okay, we're just going to have to sort of get around that. Some of the things that we can control are going to make sure that we provide time to de-stress or to recover from the exposure of stresses that we've got. The next one I'm going to talk about is operational. So when it comes to operational stress, okay, we see these things within most of the tactical environments, so things such as combat, crisis response. Okay, within high stakes environments, you're going to be exposed to a lot of stresses. That's just how it is. So the hormetic response, or the positive effect to that, or the adaptation, can often be enhances mental and physical resilience. So we can actually improve through exposures within these environments. Okay, it can strengthen your decision making under pressure. It can build stress vaccination and prepare you for future operations. Okay, again, you can't always control the amount you've got, but you can control your behaviours around that. Okay, some of the negatives for these can be repeated exposures to these events can increase the risk of pre-PTSD or PTSD indicators. Okay, or can increase the risk of having negative mental health outcomes. Okay, you can become hypervigilant, which sort of brings on its own sleep issues, emotional detachment, these sort of things from seeing too much of these. It can create a change in the way that your sort of vigilant systems responds, or create sort of a threat or negative bias. Okay, you can become chronically high stressed, okay, which again leads to hormonal dysregulation, cognitive fatigue. Okay, it has a number of negative health impacts. So when we look at this from an allostatic load perspective, so intermittent exposures with recovery build resilience, okay, at those right sort of loads. Whereas chronic exposure without decompression strategies or a way to reduce that load can lead to higher allostatic load burden, okay, and that can result in burnout, PTSD, and all these sort of negative health outcomes that we're aware of. So mitigation strategies in here can include sort of decompression periods after you've been through these events, okay, or post-mission or during the end of your shift. Having something to do like a third space, a hobby, someone to talk to, some way to kind of relax, de-stress, kind of reconcile that situation, go through your sense making of it if you need to, and then make sure that you're ready to move on and prepare for your next shift. Okay, you can go through a structured post-event processing where you can do after action reviews, mental health debriefs. Okay, like I said, you can do your sense making. Whatever it is that you like to do, then go and do that. And the thing with all of these interventions is that different interventions work differently for different people. And I've spoken about it before, is that there's no one gold standard way of going about this. People respond differently to things. So go and do that thing, whether it's go to the gym, go for a walk, go for a swim, whether it's walk along the beach, go to a lookout, or whatever it is that you like to do, go and do that thing, because that's what you're going to do to separate yourself from that incident or from that event, because what we're trying to achieve is to make sure that you're not ruminating over the event, so you can just cut it off where it was, reconcile the events, take away the learnings that you need to, and move on and prepare for your next shift, your next situation, whatever it may be.